What better way is there to celebrate the birthday of one of your very best girlfriends than to talk about reverse harems? January 11th is the birthdays of one of my very best friends. Her name is Stephanie. She is a self-published author. She wrote the Merry Maids trilogy. I'm the proud owner of it here. Of course, this is an awesome fantasy trilogy with a kick-ass female main character. Absolutely love it. My friend is brilliant. What can I say? And my friend is also the one who introduced me to the subgenre of reverse harems. This is a romance trope where there is one female and multiple guy romantic partners. And I have had such a great time with this subgenre. I read my first reverse harem, Den of Vipers, on Kindle Unlimited last year, and I vlogged it, so I will link that for you. You can check out that video. But in today's video, I wanted to celebrate Stephanie by reading 3 reverse harems on Kindle Unlimited and then rating them for you, ranking them from my least favorite to my most favorite. Here is some of the criteria I look for in reverse harems. First and foremost, I don't want any jealousy among the guys. I think it is so much hotter when they all get along, they're good at sharing, they have good dynamics together, so that is something that is important to me when it comes to reverse harems. Additionally, I really enjoy when there is independent chemistry between our one female and each of the guys. I like seeing their independent connections in addition to how well they play with others. I also love when the harem is very protective of their girl. It can't just be that anyone can have her. She is only theirs, so I like when they're a little bit protective of her. I love reverse harems, not only for their spice, but also for their female empowerment. I absolutely love the sex positivity, the spicy good time, the chemistry between all the characters. I really love reverse harems. What is your favorite reverse harem? Please comment down below because I am always looking for more. In this video, I am going to rank 3 reverse harems for you. They are all found on Kindle Unlimited, but the first one that I'm reading is called Spirited, and I got this one as a gift from Stephanie, so of course I have to read it first. She gave this to me for Galentine's Day last February. She gave each of us a reverse harem book, which is, I think, a great way to celebrate Galentine's Day. This is a fantasy paranormal reverse harem, and judging by the summary on the back of the book, I think there might be an element of dark academia with it as well. Next is Carnage. This is a dark romance. It has a structure following the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but they're in the finance industry. And seeing as 4 horsemen of the apocalypse is something that Stephanie really enjoys, and finance is what I majored in college, this seems like a promising pick. Finally, we have Faking with Benefits, which is a contemporary romance with a rom-com kind of a tone. So I'm really curious to see how that pairs with the spiciness of a reverse harem. I have been saving these reads for months in preparation for this video for Stephanie's birthday. So I am so excited to talk about these books. Let's get started with the book in 3rd place, the book that I like the least. That award goes to Carnage. In this book, we have Scarlett, who was in an accident as a teenager, and she has no memories of her life before the accident. So we have an amnesia trope going on here. She is preparing herself for a job interview, but it seems really suspicious because she has been kept under lock and key with her parents for the past 10 years, not able to talk to anyone. It sounds like she's just been grooming for this opportunity to work at this specific company for the four men who are known as the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And they gained this reputation for being ruthless businessmen. But honestly, I'm not quite sure what they do. Then we have the points of view of each of the four men, and I think the main reason I disliked this book is because I find it very corny when the characters have to tell you over and over again how powerful they are. I don't like that tell versus show. I would like more examples of it rather than them just being narcissistic and saying, I'm so powerful and everybody's scared of me. It just reads a little bit corny to me. That, in addition to the fact that there is the token guy POV who's a lot edgier and rougher, and when he talks to Scarlett, he is just really aggressive with her and kind of warns her, stay away from me. If you know what's good for you, I'll only hurt you. And then you have like the natural response, well, maybe I want you to hurt me. Maybe I want you to chase me. Okay, then run. I don't know. I am really sick of that. I've seen a lot of that, and it just is a little bit too 50 Shades of corny for me. When it comes to the criteria I was looking for, I did not enjoy the dynamics between the four horsemen of the apocalypse, as they call themselves, because they were really jealous of each other, and I didn't like that competition aspect. They did each have their own individual personalities and connections, so that was okay, but I couldn't get over the competition element between the guys. I already know that I do not enjoy the amnesia trope, so when I opened up this book and I saw that's what we were going with, I knew I probably wasn't going to enjoy it. And this writing style very much has the tone of someone telling you, I know a secret about you, but I'm not gonna tell you yet. And you're just like, okay. We find out early on in the book that I have a secret about you kind of a thing is that the guys actually know Scarlett. So from her point of view, there's some mysterious reason why she's been groomed to work at this company and like get close to these guys, maybe for vengeance or to take them down. But from the guys' perspective, they actually know Scarlett. It seems like they were in a relationship before as kids. So you have like an element of childhood friends to lovers. But I'm kind of wondering how old all these people are, because if they had that intense of a spicy relationship when she was like, I don't know, is it like 16 or 18? I was kind of reading the book and like, how old were they when they engaged in all these memories? I don't know, it kind of gave me the ick at points when it was like in the past, but that's the secret element that you're dealing with all these characters and all these POVs. It was primarily this tell versus show writing style that made me not enjoy Carnage and slot it in at number 3 for this ranking of reverse harems on Kindle Unlimited. But it's all positivity from here because I really enjoyed the next 2 books on this ranking list, and it was actually really hard to know which one to put first and second. I went back and forth several times, but I think I'm going to put Faking with Benefits at number 2 for reverse harems. In this book, we have our main character, Layla. She is a very successful lingerie designer. She owns her own business, so I love that about her. And she is very quirky and different because she has a list of things that she wants to check off by each age. And one of those things is that by the age of 30, she wants to be married. Unfortunately, she's never been in a relationship before. So she seeks the help of her 3 next door neighbors. They live across the hall from her, and they run a podcast about single guys giving relationship advice. So they decide that she is going to be a guest on their podcast, and they're going to do a segment over the course of several weeks teaching her how to date, teaching her how to relax and be herself so that she can find a boyfriend and reach this goal. As you can imagine, through this fake dating experiment, the 3 guys get very close with our 1 female and things turn very, very spicy. I did enjoy each individual personality of the guys and each connection they had. There was one guy who had been crushing on her for a long time. There was one guy who was known as being very well loved by the ladies, but he actually has a deeper soul inside of him. And then you have someone that is a little bit older, so we have an age gap, and he used to be her teacher in high school. So that was really interesting. Each guy was very independent, and then each connection was very independent, and there was no competition between the guys. In fact, they had actually dated a girl together in the past, so they were used to the dynamics in the bedroom, out of the bedroom, all of that. They were very experienced with this as they brought in Layla to their relationship. Something I did not like in this book, though, is that it was really centered around Layla's insecurities. The guys were really great in telling her, hey, there's nothing wrong with you. We don't need to fix you for dating. You are who you are, and the right person will accept you and love you for that. But she was very awkward and insecure, and so those kinds of scenes where she was talking about being bullied as a kid and how insecure she is now and how awkward she is kind of made me cringe a little bit, just because I don't like focusing on insecurities in books. But the humor definitely made up for that. I enjoyed the rom-com aspect. I didn't know how that would pair, but it was so much fun. I loved the cute little one-liners. I liked the really weird, whimsical nicknames they came up with for her, like little pet names were really fun. I kind of want to go back through the book and like annotate those names because they were so much fun. Faking with Benefits tried to add a little bit of emotion and depth to the book to give it some substance, and it was both good and bad at times. Sometimes it felt a little bit forced because like each person had their own in-depth thing going on, so it kind of felt insincere at times. But again, as a rom-com, it's not supposed to be super moving and impactful, so I think that did add a little bit of depth and interest to it rather than just spicy smut. So I think in the end it all balanced out pretty well. You know what that means. When it comes to the 3 Kindle Unlimited reverse harem books that I read for this video, it means that Spirited was my #1 favorite, and that works out perfectly because that's the one that Stephanie got me as a gift, so I'm so happy that I enjoyed it. Although it didn't start out strong. This is a fantasy book, as I said. We follow an angel. She's kind of like a dark angel because I think she has black wings. And she's very quirky and different because anytime she swears, she loses a feather. So she has to come up with really creative, fluffy alternatives for swear words, which either really charmed me at times or really grated on my last nerve at times. It was both extremes. So I could have done without that element. I also could have done without the fact that she is very clumsy, always tripping over things, her wings knock into things. Okay, I get it, she's quirky. But the thing that really bugged me starting this is you just start off right in the thick of things. And I prefer a little bit of world building first when it comes to fantasy, because I have no idea who this creature is, what her abilities are, the world she's in, like if everyone is like her or if everyone is a different kind of creature. So it took me a good like 3 or 4 chapters to get my bearings in the book, and I felt very disoriented when I started. However, it picked up from there, which was good because I was worried. I'm like, I can't DNF this. It was a gift. This is important. Her birthday's coming up. Glad I kept going, got through it, and then things really started rolling. Bryn is the name of our main character, the angel person I was talking about. And unfortunately, just like Faking with Benefits, she is also described to be incredibly insecure. And that's not something I enjoy reading, so that's another knock against this book. I like my characters to be a little bit stronger, not quite as pathetic. But something I did really, really like about the world that she's in, they say this several times, but in looking at page 155, in Amarin, it wasn't uncommon for women to date multiple men at the same time. And men were not supposed to have more than one lover. That was a woman's role. I love it. So it's a very, very common for the women to have multiple partners, but the guys have to be monogamous. So that was really cool. And that's something really neat too, is that the reverse harems in this situation are not only socially acceptable, but it's considered the norm. It kind of makes me look at the other books differently, because when you look at Faking with Benefits, for example, It was like a scandal and so controversial that one woman was dating 3 guys. And in this case, nope, that's just how things are. One thing mentioned in this book, but not quite explored in depth yet, is the concept of birth control. When it comes to reverse harems, I always have that question, because if you were to get knocked up, how would you know who the baby daddy is? Or does it even matter, because maybe they just all raise the kid together? But these are the kind of logistical questions I have when it comes to reverse harems, so that was kind of neat that they mentioned it. And there's also different birth controls for like humans, like live people versus ghosts. Because our main character, Bryn, can see, communicate with, touch ghosts, and not everybody can. So she is like a ghost slayer, almost. She helps exorcise the ghosts and has them cross over, so ghosts can talk to her. They can't talk to everybody. She comes into contact with the ghost of the cousin of the crown prince, and he like attaches to her. And so she brings him back to the queen because he has a message for her. And this message has something to do with the possibility of a resurrection spell. And so she is put in charge of trying to find this spell, so bringing the ghosts back to life. And it's interesting because through this journey, she has this ghost attached to her, but she actually has this long-term crush on the crown prince, who is her childhood friend. And so she has the cousin that's attached to her, she has the prince, and then there's all these other guys that come into play where there ultimately becomes 6 potential suitors. Girl, 6 ghost boyfriends? Save some sexy Caspers for the rest of us. I think I learned that the perfect number for a reverse harem, in my opinion, is 4. I think 6 boyfriends was a little bit much. Homegirl is gonna need some coffee, a Red Bull, something. Even though I sensed a little bit of competition and jealousy among the guys, I don't think that's going to be an ongoing theme, because on page 173, one of the guys is having an inner dialogue and he says, "He wasn't my competition. No, men were foolish in thinking they needed to compete with each other for women's hearts. The only person who could make those sorts of decisions was the woman herself." So it is intended to be very like woman empowering, since she can have all the guys. But yeah, I did see a little bit of competition and some jabs between the guys. Ultimately, Spirited is my favorite of the 3 reverse harem books that I read for this video, because although it took a long time for the spice to actually happen, and it hasn't even happened with all 6 of the boyfriends yet, I do really like that a connection was created and established between each of them. And it also evoked some emotion in me because they don't all start off as dead. Some of them start off as living. And so, you know, on the back of the book, it says 6 ghost boyfriends. You know, more has to happen than just that one ghost she attaches to in the first place. So it had a lot of plot in that sense. It wasn't all spice. It had a lot of plot, had a lot of chemistry. You can definitely see the independent connections with each of them. They'll have their independent identities. And the fantasy element was kind of cool, the magic and the fact that she is an angel and that she can see the dead and speak to the dead. The queen has different powers. The people she meets all have different powers. I mentioned this has an element of dark academia, or at least the back promised it to, because she's trying to get into this very prestigious like university for studies, and this is like her last chance to get in. And she doesn't go to the university until like the very end, so you don't have a lot of time there. But you do meet one of the professors who ends up attaching to her. So, I mean, some stuff happens there, but I think in book 2 there will be more setting in that academia place, so I'm looking forward to that. But book 3 is not published yet, and I'm seeing that book 2 ends on a cliffhanger, so I may have to wait for book 2, which kills me because I enjoyed this so much. So those are the 3 reverse harems that I read, and you can find them on Kindle Unlimited. I'm so grateful to my friend Stephanie, author of the Merry Maids trilogy, also found on Amazon. I'm so grateful to her for introducing me to this subgenre because it's been so much fun. And even reading these three across dark romance, contemporary romance, fantasy paranormal romance, there is so much variety with reverse harems. So I've had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this video. Wish Stephanie a happy birthday in the comments down below. I will see you in the next video.